Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Whenever you saw this video, I am your friend Tandil Mayur and welcome to our channel Matsya where you can get the best fisheries information. First of all, thank you so much for your love and support to my first video, and here I come with the second video, fish composition. Before start the video, I have one surprise for you in this video, so watch the video till the end. Now let's start the video by the name of Lord Ganesha. So first of all, what is the composition? So composition is from what fishes are made in terms of biochemical compositions. So mainly fishes are made from the four major components, that is water, protein, fat or lipid or the S. These four are the major components. There are some minor components also. There are carbohydrates, vitamins, nucleotide and non-protein nitrogen compound, and these all are called the proximate compositions of the fish. Now, why this compositions is important? So, it is important to the processor in processing plant, nutritionalist and the consumer. The processor needs to know the nature of the raw material before he can apply the correct techniques of chilling, freezing, smoking or canning. The nutritionalist wants to know what contribute of fish can make to the diet to the human health. And the consumer is always interested in mainly the edible part of the fish, that is flesh and the muscles. So let's start with the first compositions, water. Water is consisting 65 to 90 percentage of total fish body, and water is essential for all living system. Body fluid act as a medium of transport of nutrients, metabolites, etc. Now water is present in two forms in the tissue, that is bound to the proteins and free water. Now bound to the proteins water are tightly bound to the protein that it can be expelled ever in the higher pressure. This water is only drained off at the time of thaw dip. Now, thaw dip is a phenomena in which the water is drained off from the ruptured cell from the fish body. When you store the fish at the lower temperature like -80, -20 or -40 degrees centigrade, then after when you thaw the fish at the normal temperature to 0 to 4 degree, the some amount of water is drained out of the cells. That is the thaw dip. That can be depending on the some various factors. Now, water and protein have inverse relationship. When water content is higher in fish body, the protein content is lower. The best example of this is Harpodon neharius, that is Bombay duck. But the total sum of water and lipid is consisted approximately 80 percentage of total body of fish. The second component is lipid or fat. Now lipid are the heterogeneous group compound, which means the chemical substance they may have contain ester of fatty acids and alcohol. This may be bound to other additional group to form the compound lipid like phospholipids and derived lipid like the steroid. It is the fraction of any biological material that extractable by the solvent of low polarity like ethyl alcohol, ethyl chloroform, hexane, petroleum ether, etc. Now lipid contribute 1 to 20% of the total fish body. The main site of storage of lipid is muscles. But the fat is not always uniformly distributed through the fish body. It is so a wide variation with the seasonal and sexual maturity. The best example of this is a Pacific salmon and cod fish. Here is the example of Pacific salmon and cod. In terms of Pacific salmon, there may be a nearly twice as much fat in muscles as compared to around the head area and tail muscles. And in case of the cod that have white fish, they have a fat contained in muscle is in very low amount, usually below 1%, and the seasonal fluctuation in fat content are noticeable mainly in the liver, where the bulk of the fat is stored. Here is the two best example of the fat is not always uniformly distributed throughout the fish body. Protein. Protein is the most important components of the fish because it separates the fish from all other non-veg food. The amount of protein in the muscle is usually somewhere between 50 to 20 percentage, but a value lower than 50 percentage and higher than 28 percentage are occasionally met in some species like tuna, salmon, and cod. Now, fish protein is provide a good combination of the amino acid. There are three classified groups based on their solubility in the salt solution. That is cytoplasmic protein, myofibrillar protein, and stroma protein. Proteins are the chain of chemical units that link together and make one long molecule. It contains amino acid that is good for human health. There are two main amino acids, that is lysine and methionine, is found in higher concentration in the fin protein. Now protein content fall very slightly when the fat content is falls. Minor components of fish muscle. But before going to the minor components of fish muscle, I have one surprise for you, that I am asking you two questions that you need to answer in comment section with your college name before 10 p.m. on 18th July 2020. The question is, in which fish protein content is highest in the raw material? The second question is, in which fish the fat content is higher in the raw material? Now, the maximum student that gives the right answer from the same college, and from that we have to choose a winner college. And we make a information video on that college departments and also university. We also display the student name who gave the right answers in our video. So make your college feel proud and share this video to your college friend for your higher accounts. Now, the minor components of the fish muscles. The first one is carbohydrate. The amount of carbohydrate in fish is very low. That is 1% in lean fish, 2% in fatty fish. In some molluscs, it contains up to 5% of the carbohydrate in the form of glycogen. Second minor component is the vitamins. Now vitamins can be divided into two groups, that is fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. Fat soluble vitamins are vitamins A, D, E and K vitamins, and water soluble vitamins are vitamin B and C. All the vitamins are necessary for good health in humans and domestic animals are present to some extent in fish, but this amount is vary by species to species throughout the year. The parts of the fish that is generally not eaten by us, such as liver and gut, contain a greater quantity of oil soluble vitamins, that is vitamin A and D. The water soluble vitamins of fish is present in the skin, liver and gut also, but the highest amount of water soluble vitamins are present in the fish flesh, that is more than the half of the total amount of the fish flesh. The vitamin content of individual fish of the same species and even of the different part of the same species can vary. Here is the diagram of cod fillet. In that type of fish, fats are stored mainly in the livers. Now mechanical construction show here in this figure. You can see the connective tissue that are curved within the fillet and run from the backbone of the skin. You can clearly see the pattern of the connective tissue. There are also tiny blood vessels running through the muscles. The block of the muscle, which form the individual flakes in the cooked fish, are separated by thin sheets that is known as the connective tissue. Because after the cooking, these connective tissue are loosed down and they can't hold the fish flakes. If you observe the cooked fish, there are some flakes or chunks of the fish which is separated by thin sheets, thin layer like skin layer, that is the connective tissue. And this connective tissue are present only in small percentage of total weight of the muscles, and that is the main reason why fish meat is less tougher than the other meat, because in other meat the percentage of connective tissue are very high, so the chewiness is higher as compared to fish meat. Here is the difference between lean fish and fatty fish. You can clearly see in the figure that the region of highest fat content is just beneath the skin of the fatty fish. And there are the two types of muscles, that is light muscle and the dark muscles, that is also called as the red muscles. In white fish such as a cod and haddock, there is a small strip of dark muscle or red muscles that is just under the skin of the both sides of the body, that is running just beneath the lateral line. In terms of the fatty fish such as a herring and mackerel, the strips of dark muscles are much larger in proportion and they contain higher concentration of fat and certain vitamins. Now there are different factors that affecting the compositions of fish, such like protein, vitamins, fat, etc. The composition of the particular species often appear to vary from one fishing ground to another, from one season to another season. For example, fish usually stop feeding before they spawn and they use the reserve fat and the protein from their body. In that condition, we get the lower amount of fat and protein from that species. Again, when the fish are overcrowded, there may not be enough food. So obviously, intake will be low, the composition will change accordingly. One study is carried out on American freshwater fish, which is caught from the overcrowded ponds, and their average fat content is only 1%. and that is compared with the same species caught from the river and the normal lakes that have average fat content 6 to 10 percentage. From that study, we found that there are some factors, that is season, fishing ground, spawning season, overcrowding, that affect the compositions of the fish. Now that's all about the fish compositions. If you like our video, then press the like button, subscribe our channel Matsya Susmin and hit the bell icon so you can get the best fisheries information in future. You can also follow our Instagram page Step to Fisheries, which is run by our member. Thank you, stay safe, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.